Are we ready to see how the Philadelphia Eagles construct the most competitive roster in the NFL this season? This morning's report outlines a projected 53-man roster as we head into training camp, featuring tough cuts at wide receiver and defensive back. It is fascinating because this depth creates a genuine dilemma for Howie Roseman regarding who stays and who goes. We need to break down two things: the specific roster math and the long-term impact on our championship aspirations. Smash that like button, subscribe, and tell me your city below. Let's get into it. The Philadelphia Eagles are entering training camp with a roster depth that has not been seen in years, presenting head coach Nick Sirianni and general manager Howie Roseman with a series of difficult personnel decisions. As of July 27, 2026, we have a clear look at how our ideal 53-man roster might take shape, balancing established veteran starters with a wave of hungry developmental talent. The strategy focuses on keeping Jalen Hurts as the centerpiece while utilizing players like Cooper DeJean, whose versatility at safety and nickel cornerback provides the flexibility to shuffle bodies elsewhere. For us longtime supporters, this depth brings a mix of relief and anxiety, as we know that keeping certain players often forces the team to part ways with guys we have grown to appreciate, such as Johnny Wilson or others fighting for those final receiver spots. What nobody is talking about is the specific math required to maintain this balance across the offensive line and secondary, especially when every roster spot is precious. While our core group, led by Saquon Barkley and Jalen Carter, is secure, the challenge lies in managing the bottom of the depth chart to ensure we are covered against the inevitable wear and tear of a 17-game season. The team is clearly betting on high-upside rookies and veteran depth to carry us through. With these roster lines now drawn in the sand, the real pressure shifts to the practice field. But I find myself wondering how the coaching staff will handle the specific trade-off between keeping special teams specialists and retaining pure positional depth in a room as crowded as our wide receiver unit. The most surprising decision facing the front office involves leaving Johnny Wilson off our initial 53-man roster despite his towering 6'6" frame and blocking prowess. This outcome stems from a cold calculation by the coaching staff who prioritized special teams contributions and consistent pass catching over raw physical size in a crowded receiver room. We have seen the team value versatility above all else in previous seasons, often parting ways with developmental projects when they fail to demonstrate immediate reliability on game day. The part fans are not ready for is how this depth chart crunch directly impacts our younger players, specifically those drafted with high expectations who now find themselves on the bubble. Behind closed doors, Nick Sirianni and his staff are likely weighing the risk of losing a unique talent like Wilson to waivers against the need to keep specialized contributors like Darius Cooper. It is a classic dilemma for Howie Roseman, who must balance long-term development with the immediate necessity of filling out a competitive roster that can survive a grueling 17-game schedule. Historical precedent suggests that if a player cannot contribute on special teams, their path to the final roster is exceptionally narrow, regardless of their athletic ceiling. Watching the internal competition between players like Cooper and Wilson reminds us that even the most promising prospects must prove their worth every single day during training camp to survive these final cuts. This is the reality of managing a championship-caliber team where every roster spot serves a specific function, forcing difficult goodbyes to players who possess the potential to excel elsewhere in the league if they are given the right opportunity. Transitioning from the roster projections to the bigger picture, here is what people are missing regarding the significance of this depth. For us as Philadelphia Eagles fans, the true stake is the championship window that Howie Roseman has meticulously built with this high-level talent. This roster isn't just about names on a page. It's about having the physical insurance policy to survive the grueling 17-game grind. By keeping 7 cornerbacks and prioritizing flexibility in the secondary, this team is explicitly preparing for the modern passing attacks we will face in the playoffs. We are moving away from the era where a single injury to a starter derails our entire season. Instead, this depth allows Nick Sirianni to rotate his personnel, keeping veterans like Lane Johnson fresh for those cold December and January matchups that define our legacy. When we look at the division, this roster construction directly challenges the way the Giants operate by building a superior, more resilient unit that shouldn't fatigue when the pressure mounts. Our ability to plug and play various defensive backs against division rivals is a massive tactical advantage that gives us the edge in close, high-stakes games. This isn't just about filling spots to reach 53. It is about creating a versatile machine that can handle any adversity. By refusing to sacrifice depth at critical positions, the organization is signaling that they are all in on a title run. If we can maintain this level of competition through training camp, our path to a top seed in the conference becomes significantly clearer as the season unfolds in the months ahead. The most compelling argument for constructing this 53-man roster as projected lies in the sheer versatility of our secondary and offensive line personnel, which allows Howie Roseman to keep extra depth at premium positions like wide receiver. By utilizing players who can fill multiple roles, we effectively maximize our roster capacity without thinning our core strength. Here is where it gets interesting as we evaluate the risks involved, specifically the decision to omit promising talents like Johnny Wilson or Micah Morris. While the upside is a highly flexible group, the downside is the high probability of losing these developmental prospects to waivers. Other teams across the league are monitoring this situation closely, with analysts noting that the competition at the final receiver spot between Darius Cooper, Johnny Wilson, Britton Covey, Quez Watkins, Danny Gray, Samori Toure, and Eric Ezukanma is among the most intense in the NFL. Some league observers argue that sacrificing size for speed in the receiver room could leave us vulnerable in physical matchups. But the depth we maintain in the secondary provides a necessary hedge against those concerns. To be perfectly honest, I believe the concern regarding our offensive line depth is slightly overblown by national media members. While losing a player like Micah Morris would sting, the ability to protect Jalen Hurts with veterans who offer proven, versatile production is the right priority for Nick Sirianni. If we can secure key developmental pieces like UR Bernard or Kapena Gushikin on the practice squad, we will have successfully balanced short-term stability with the long-term vision that has defined our front office approach under Jeffrey Lurie. When you synthesize the depth of this roster with the clear vision laid out by General Manager Howie Roseman, it becomes evident that the Philadelphia Eagles are building a sustainable championship window that will extend well beyond this immediate season. This organizational strategy prioritizes versatility, ensuring that players like Cooper DeJean provide the necessary flexibility to handle injuries without derailing our momentum, which serves as a blueprint for long-term excellence under Nick Sirianni. And this is the part that gets me. The sheer density of talent we see across the secondary and the trenches suggests we are prepared to dictate the terms of any contest, regardless of the opponent. As Philadelphia Eagles fans, we should feel incredibly confident because this isn't just a collection of star power, but a carefully constructed unit designed to maximize every 17-game stretch. With seasoned veterans like Andy Dalton anchoring the quarterback room and a young core ready to step into larger roles, we have the depth that usually separates deep playoff contenders from the rest of the pack. The attention to detail in balancing the needs of our special teams units with the developmental requirements of players like Darius Cooper shows a level of maturity that every fan can appreciate. Heading into training camp, I want to hear your take on the final spot in our receiver room, so please tell me. Would you keep the veteran size and blocking utility of Johnny Wilson, or stay with the developmental upside of Darius Cooper? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Fly, Eagles, fly. I'll see you in the next one.